Hi, I'm Jordan with Locums.com. Today we're talking about something that can absolutely make or break a Locum Tenens assignment, and that is housing. We recently collaborated with Reliable Residence on a blog article featuring advice from Dr. Christina Henderson, founder of Reliable Residence, about how Locum Tenens physicians can make better housing decisions before the start of an assignment to make that assignment more enjoyable and more sustainable. This matters because bad housing situation for Locum Tenens is not just inconvenient. It can mean arriving in a new city and realizing that the rental doesn't match the photos, that the property's not clean, that the Wi-Fi doesn't work. The commute might be longer than you expected, or the person managing the property is very difficult to reach. You want to avoid all these things, and they are very possible to avoid with the right approach and the system in place. When you're already there to take care of patients, housing should not become another crisis to solve. Here are 5 things to check before you start your next assignment, and how to get that housing secured to make the experience much more pleasant. Okay, number 1, you want to confirm the basics before you commit. Before you agree to a rental, make sure the unit's fully furnished and that the utilities and the Wi-Fi are included. This sounds simple, but when you're starting an assignment quickly, the last thing you want to do is arrive and realize that you need to set up the internet, move furniture, or deal with unexpected utility issues. Confirm those couple things before you get started. That's one more headache out of the way. Okay, next, look very closely at the commute. Housing location matters, especially if you're taking call shifts, if you're working weekends, if you're doing a lot of travel back and forth, or if you're covering long shifts. Those problems, if they are there, can become exacerbated. Start your search. Here's how you want to do it. Start your search as close to the facility as possible. And then what you do is you start branching out 5, 10, 20 miles. Look at how the rates and the base rent, of course, changes the further away you get from the hospital and the facility. And of course, see where those amenities line up. You're looking to find a happy balance. So to find the right place, you might end up going 10 miles away from the hospital because the rate's a little more attractive, the amenities are better, and it still lines up with your needed and your desired commute time. But again, start close to the facility, start branching out to look for your housing from there. A cheaper rental may not actually feel cheaper because it's going to add stress. It's going to cut into your rest. It's going to make call coverage more difficult. But again, you want to look very, very closely at that commute. Don't always choose the closest facility, but try to be as close as possible. All right, number 3, think beyond the budget and treat your housing stipend like a budget, not a number to match. You want to look at the total cost of your housing, of course. Base rent may look like it fits, but you're going to have parking fees, utility fees, cleaning fees, other add-ons, possibly a garage fee if you decide to have a spot like that in a rental complex. Before you book, you want to look at the total monthly cost, of course. Add up all those numbers and see if then it still fits within your stipend. But again, treat it like a budget, not a number to match. All right, next, and perhaps the most important here, you want to do extra diligence on unscreened listings. Photos and descriptions do not always tell the full story, unfortunately. There are many providers out there that do have horror stories about showing up to temporary housing for a locum assignment. It is not at all what they expected, it wasn't what they were promised, and it is not suitable by any stretch, and it causes an exceptionally stressful experience. We want to avoid all that, right? If you're using a platform that does not vet listings, confirm the rental's legitimate. Make those phone calls. Make sure the contract and the person that you're working with is responsive. And watch for anything that feels rushed or unclear. This is where a lot of stressful mistakes can happen. A physician may book quickly because the assignment starts in a few days, only to arrive and find that the property is not what was promised. At that point, they're both trying to find replacement housing and preparing to start work. It's not a sustainable situation. If someone is hard to reach before you book, they may be even harder to reach after you arrive. Little red flags like that as you go through the planning and booking process are very, very important to pay attention to. So just do your extra diligence or find a service that actually does screen listings for you. This is something that Reliable Residence does. So definitely a service worth looking into to ensure peace of mind later when you actually arrive for the assignment. All right, number 5, you want to choose housing that supports your assignment but supports your lifestyle as well. For longer assignments, housing needs to be more than just a place to sleep. You need a place where you can rest, reset, do laundry, know you're parked safely, feel secure in your own space, and feel comfortable after a long day of working clinical shifts. This matters even more if you decide to extend the assignment or you're traveling back and forth to see family. Those problems become exacerbated as you try to do more during that time with housing that's unsuitable. So please just remember that. Choose housing that supports your overall lifestyle and what you want to be doing during that assignment, not just 4 walls and a roof to pass out in. All right, the big takeaway is this. Housing should be evaluated as part of the assignment, not an afterthought. It is a critical piece of the overall experience. It's not something that physicians and clinicians in permanent placements have to worry about as much because they're living in their home. You are trying to create a home away from home, and that's going to come with some added questions and a little bit of extra planning required. Do the extra due diligence, and it's going to make your assignment and your experience so much better, so much more positive, and much more sustainable. So again, before booking, check furnishings, utilities, Wi-Fi, commute, parking, laundry, pet policy, the lease flexibility, whether the listing has been vetted, whether you have photos of it ahead of time, and evaluate the total true cost of the assignment. Those are the big things you need to remember. Thanks for joining us today. Again, my name is Jordan. I'm with Locums.com. We are here to help with your locum tenens journey. If you're a recruiter or a physician looking to expand your locum tenens work, you can reach us at contact us at Locums.com. If you have any ideas for guides you'd like to see on our website, or maybe additional features you'd like to see on our job board, please feel free to reach out. This article was written in conjunction with Dr. Christina Henderson of Reliable Residence. We also encourage you to check out their site and see their approach to vetting furnished listings for locum tenens providers and other traveling physicians. Thanks again for joining us. We hope you have a fantastic weekend. Talk to you next week. Bye.